Hello and welcome to this episode of the Decoding Diaspora podcast, a podcast in which we delve deeper into the experiences, aspirations, and challenges of expats, migrants, and the diaspora. Well, as an expat and as an international, one aspect that one typically thinks about and is worried about is how do I manage my finances in a new country, perhaps in a new currency? How do I become financially secure and stable? We are going to tackle exactly that topic, and today I have the absolute joy of being in conversation with Rares Bagyo. Welcome to the podcast, Rares.
Thank you so much for having me. Rares, it's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy that we could make time for this. Rares, you are a finance professional and you focus on helping migrants and expats and international here in Denmark how to manage their personal finances as well as how to grow their businesses. So I would love to hear all of that from you today.
I'm an open book and I'm very happy to share everything.
Fantastic. Can't wait to get started. Rares, you grew up in Romania, if I'm to understand correctly, and
that is
now
correct.
You have been a migrant, let's say an expat here in Denmark yourself. So where in Romania did you grow up? Give us a sense of what your childhood was like before we can make sense of who is this person giving us financial advice.
I love it that you start with my background.
Yeah.
And allow me to bring you a little bit of Romanian culture in the podcast.
Yeah.
So we have this beautiful tradition that in the 1st of March, as spring starts, traditionally men would give to women something that is very powerful and very symbolic.
Yeah.
And I have something for you.
Yeah.
This is a mărțișor.
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 Yeah. Actually, this is a pen that many women, children, also men, I mean, you see it all the time as well. They, of course, it's in the box here, but this is a pin that they would have it in their chest.
Right.
Or on their coat around the chest area, left or right or whatever.
Okay.
They can have multiple, especially if they have children and so on. They would proudly wear them at work and on the street. And they will take it off once they see the first tree blooming.
Okay.
So basically that will be for a couple of weeks as weather in Romania starts to become quite warm in this period.
Yeah.
And it basically symbolizes just spring, the power of nature coming to life. And that's something we wish to the community.
Great.
So I would like to give this one to you.
Thank you. A sign of hope and a sign of new beginnings. Let's put it that way. And the coming of spring. Thank you so much. A touch of Romania for me already.
Yes.
Take us down the memory lane. What was childhood like? And give us a sense of where in Romania did you grow up? And while you were growing up, did you ever think that you're going to live somewhere else as an adult?
Yeah. So I am a big city boy.
Like me, big city girl.
Coming from the second biggest city in Romania called Cluj-Napoca.
Okay.
It's literally in the heart of Transylvania, surrounded by mountains, lakes, rivers, you name it. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Grew up in a flat, played ball in back of the blocks with my friends. Went to school there, did my bachelor's degree there. So I am a post-communist child, which meant that growing up during the 90s, Romania went through a lot.
Right.
I mean, migrating from communism into democracy, free world, people not understanding what are their rights, what are their obligations that comes with having this freedom. Yeah. Free markets, not having businesses for 40 years that wiped off the kind of the collective wisdom of the society around entrepreneurship. So it was very much, it was a chaos in many perspectives, yet the country managed to move forward, obviously. Yeah. So I definitely bring some of that with me. Yeah. Many of them are absolute kind of amazing things that I carry with me in my baggage, like work ethic and being hardworking and being ambitious and kind of trying to snap out of a situation that you don't want to be in. Yeah. Yet there's also the other side of the coin where maybe it comes with some limiting beliefs or things that you are supposed to be in your place, or things like this that one inherits through culture and family.
Yeah. So now that you came out of a situation of chaos and movement and new beginnings, at what point did it occur to you that you want to go abroad and perhaps explore something new other than what was familiar and around you? How did that decision come about?
I think it was a lot of work on my parents' side.
Yeah.
That they wished for me to have an international experience.
Right.
I very much protested that. I didn't want that. So I never saw myself being an international. I never saw myself living abroad or even having an international family. That did not occur to me whatsoever. No. Yet, as I started my kind of late teens, early 20s, and doing my bachelor's and actually also starting to businesses as a very young adult, I quickly realized that actually opportunities in my city were a little bit limited.
Right.
So the options for me to grow professionally is something that I valued early on a lot, as well as now, but was to move to Bucharest.
Right.
And of course, there's the rivalry between the biggest city and the second biggest city, and there's a no there.
Okay, okay.
Clearly, there's such a strong, proud sentiment towards the city and the region. So for me, it was, okay, how can I grow further? And then I started looking, what if I would study abroad for a master's degree? Then also looked at financial, because finance was an area of mine that I was like, whoa, this is super interesting. Has to do with the business choices, with kind of finance is a support function that enables the management to take the right decisions to steer the ship forward. So I was like, okay, how can I get the best in class programs on this?
Yes.
Started looking around, and I realized that, I mean, I cannot afford many of those master's programs, looking at the UK, also France, and many other countries.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Scandinavia lit with the opportunity to study
Quite
abroad.
by chance? Did somebody tip you on that? Did you come across something online? How did Scandinavia even come into the radar?
I think it was more of a, whenever you're in your third year of your bachelor's, you talk about those things.
Right.
So then you hear it in your networks, with your colleagues, with your career advisors, mentors that you have also outside of university.
Yeah.
So these things get fast to you.
Yeah.
But the interesting part for me with Scandinavia was that once I realized that actually going to Scandinavia is feasible financially for me, I realized that there's actually a little bit more that I'm interested in there, and actually has to do with the business culture, because all Scandinavian countries, they are very small, yet they have huge businesses.
Small populations.
Small populations, yes. With huge businesses.
Yes.
And basically, I was very much interested in, okay, what is in the water there that makes those people build such businesses? So there was kind of multiple layers that attracted me to say, okay, fine, I'll get outside of my comfort zone, outside of the context that I created, and it was a kind of, I had a prominent career, 2 businesses, a family that is supporting me. Also,
already before you left Romania.
Yes,
you had a world that you had created for yourself.
Fully, and an amazing support system. And leaving everything behind was a tough choice, obviously.
Right, indeed, of course. So your parents, you said your parents had a big role to play in the choice to go abroad. Did they ever plant the seed that maybe, Rares, you should explore avenues when you grow up outside this country? What was it, their discontent, or did they say things like that, or how did they manage, or why do you credit them for this dream
I
or ambition?
I don't fully credit them for it. They definitely nudged me not in an active way, but they did plant the seed fairly early on. I have family so my mother's brother, he went to the UK for his PhD, and he built a family there so I already had that role model, and he was very much all about, Rares, you need to snap out of the Romanian context for you to gain the perspective that one needs for you to grow in balance.
That I can relate to as well. And there were figures in my family who had studied abroad, which kind of rubs off on you, and then you want to also see what they have experienced. So I totally get that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now Scandinavia happened. Your first point of entry into Scandinavia was actually not Denmark, it was actually Sweden.
That is correct.
And what happened in Sweden? Quickly take us through that.
So let me tell you why I ended up there to begin with.
Yeah.
So I was looking at master's programs.
Yeah.
And Copenhagen Business School is one of the best in class at financial programs and management programs. So I applied to a couple of programs, one of them being financial and strategic management, one of the popular ones there. And I got rejected on everything.
Right.
So all doors on Denmark were closed, and I was like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
So I luckily found this university that had a late application process in Sweden, and I was like, okay, I cannot go to CBS.
Yeah.
How is the best way to handle this 1 year?
Yeah.
Should I just continue being in Romania and work? Should I just move abroad and work and have actually no anchor or a kind of proper reason? How would I deal with that? Or should I just try to apply for this other one? It is a 1 year master's program, comes with a full master's degree diploma, and it was in finance.
Good point. Very good point. The fact that you got to pursue your area of interest, your subject of interest.
Absolutely.
And always look for alternatives. That's the takeaway from your experience. That if one door closes, knock on other doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say that this is very much kind of the family culture, and in many ways the Romanian culture. Once you gain that goal, then you push until you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Then after that master's, then you moved your way to Copenhagen. What were the initial days like? And did Copenhagen Business School finally pay heed to your knocking?
So that was a period of my life that I'll never forget.
Okay.
For all the right reasons. I finished my degree in Jönköping in Sweden, and I was ready to move. I mean, there was nothing left there for me to stay. Most students were migrating to the bigger cities, and there was not enough employment for an international for me to be absorbed in the society there. So I applied to CBS, and I didn't hear any answers. So this was 8th of June.
Yeah.
Got myself in the train with all my life in my backpack, and I arrived in Copenhagen Central Station with my life in my bag, 2,000 euros in my pocket. That was all the money that I had.
Yeah.
When that money was gone, I was gone.
Yeah.
And I had 1 month's stay from a girl that traveled through Australia, and then basically she rented her room to me.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So the next 2 weeks were super high stake, super high effort. Luckily, a week after, I found out that I actually got into finance and strategic management, the program that I actually wanted to get to begin with. And that was an absolute win.
At CBS?
At CBS,
okay, hallelujah, it finally happened.
Yes,
okay.
yes, 1 year later.
Yeah.
So I got the program that I dreamed of.
Yeah. So you landed with uncertainty, but within a week, things turned out as you had wished for.
Full uncertainty, and also huge financial exposure, because moving to Sweden, I had to borrow money to be there, and all the efforts that I put in into finding a job.
Yes.
So coming again to the Rares that left Romania, the level of confidence I had with having all this support system, the businesses, the experience as a youngster, that was rich.
Yeah.
Yet moving to Sweden, that completely shredded my
because you are exactly very well said. Because when you are in your own known space, you have the support system, you're basically the king of your kingdom, and you feel like one, that level of confidence. But then the vulnerability of moving strips you of that confidence, because then you're truly exposed with nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you experienced that firsthand.
Twice, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So now again, I'm giving it another chance in a different society in Copenhagen, and I took one day as it came. So I got into CBS. That was an amazing anchor, also for me to put right away in my CV and start applying for jobs.
So just for context, for people who are going to apply to Scandinavia, aspire to study here in Scandinavia, for you as an EU national coming from Romania, there was no tuition fees at CBS.
No.
Or at Sweden, which was what was the lucrative part for you to move.
Yes,
because,
a huge privilege.
Yeah, because that may not be true for an American, Australian, or an Indian moving here, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And also 2,000 euros sounds like a fair amount. It's a limited amount, but a lot of money for a lot of people who might not even have that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But put into the Danish context, 2,000 euros, it's basically
it doesn't last long.
A month's worth of life.
15,000 kroner, you can't go very far with that. Indeed. Yeah. Okay, now you have been through the experience early on. You were in your early 20s, the typical time when people move for studying abroad. You have taken a jolt of the confidence, but now you're trying to find your way through life in Scandinavia. What does the post-education life looks like? And in short, the journey from there to the financial professional today, sitting in this podcast. Why did you choose to do what you're doing now? Also, you have a particular interest and focus on working with internationals in Denmark, expats in Copenhagen. How did that focus area emerge for you?
So let me take you back to accepting into CBS, being accepted into CBS.
Yeah.
That was a point where I was like, okay, I need the money. If my money is gone, I'm gone. So
money for everyday living, you mean?
Everyday living.
Yeah, because tuition is taken care of, but you still need resources.
Correct. I started looking for jobs that are basically anybody could do in cleaning, because that would make me stay.
Yeah.
Would enable me to stay. And then at the same time, I was looking for things that I could put on my CV that has a financial angle.
Yeah.
So I basically worked on two fronts.
Yeah.
So luckily I got a job as in cleaning in a hotel, not cleaning, but being a kind of maintenance something in a hotel.
So actually you were open to all options and all possibilities.
Absolutely. I was survival mode.
Yeah. I mean, very pragmatic actually. There was no arrogance as to I will not do this or I will only do that.
No, not whatsoever.
Amazing.
So went into I found this amazing job at a hotel by sitting in the queue at International House.
Yeah.
Just me being there, hearing some Romanian voices in the back and then going in there, going to them and saying, look, I have this situation, I'm looking for this.
Yeah.
Can you help?
Yeah.
And they made me an entry and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
That basically got my spirits to calm down. On the other side, I was like, okay, I cannot put this on my CV. This is irrelevant. This cannot sit on top of kind of the way you build your CV on top of founder to this company in Romania. So I need to put something else in there. So I was actually starting to be a full-time student. I had the part-time job in the hotel and I took a part-time unpaid internship in a startup that actually had to do with finance, which that was the portfolio of activities that was crazy hard. Of course, back then I didn't realize it was hard because you're just living it. Reflecting back, I can judge it, right?
Well said.
But that unpaid internship led me to a recommendation to a paid student position. So I could quit my hotel job, have the student position, and then actually in a very traditional way, just applying to jobs, not having any entry because I didn't have any network. Just applying to jobs, I got to corporate budgeting. So working with one of the biggest Danish companies on how they build their budgets, how they build their processes, financial processes, and so on.
I would say that the fact that you sent in applications and that you even got a job without networking because you didn't have any is, I would say, a challenge, a big challenge overcome, which not many people manage to do. I have been lucky to share your experience because I've never found a job through my network. Actually, it's never happened to me. All my several years of work experience. So the fact that you took one opportunity, leveraged it to get the other opportunity from unpaid to paid, but then you must have written your application in a way that appealed to people hiring.
Yes,
You know?
I did something
So
right there.
Something,
for sure.
yeah. And perhaps we should crack that in another podcast episode. But I'm so eager to hear how those steps finally led you to this moment in time.
I didn't necessarily want to work with corporate budgets. I really wanted investments. I wanted to work with markets. I wanted to work with being this area of high pace, working with news, working with everything that is hot. So that was something that I really chased, and I could not get it.
Yeah.
For as many applications that I got, I couldn't get it. Of course, the job in corporate budgeting was good, was paying well, was developing me. So that was a point in time where I felt defeated. I gave up.
Why did you feel defeated? Even though it was paying you well, but you were not satisfied.
Yeah, I was having a good job, also good colleagues, yet I'm not working in the field that I really want.
Yes.
It's still finance, but
that
not
gap
not
of
level
satisfaction
is
why you felt.
And that contributed significantly to me kind of lowering my self-esteem in a little bit and trying to embrace that, accept it.
I call that moment losing your mojo, really. You know, when you don't feel like you're in your element and then you really want to do something else.
Yes. Yeah. I stayed there for a while, and situation changed in a way that I decided that I would take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
So I did that. I quit everything in Denmark. Yes. My job, everything that I worked so hard to get.
Right.
And then just get my life in a backpack again and travel for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I came back afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's where that was basically a reboot that I needed to be able to, I will actually start pursuing again what I really want. And this time I got it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that sometimes you need to brush off everything on your slate and literally start on a clean slate, on a completely new note.
Yeah.
And the sabbatical must have helped in rethinking and fine-tuning your life path.
Yes. It was also a journey of just accepting. Life throws things at you. Things that some you cannot do much about, like my career in financial controlling or corporate budgeting. That was out of my control. So then trying to focus, what is it within my control?
Yeah. But you see, everything serves a purpose. Even those jobs that we don't entirely thrive in, they serve a purpose in that point in time because they give us financial stability, they give us networks, they give us exposure.
Actually,
so it did a lot. Must have.
The frameworks and the know-how that I learned in that job, I'm using every day in my business today, teaching my clients.
Exactly.
Even though emotionally and rationally, I knew I didn't want to be there because that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yet it serves to such a bigger purpose to me.
There is learning at every point. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So getting the investment job and being past the honeymoon period, it also coincided with the COVID crisis in 2020. Found myself in this, I'm having the dream job ticked, I'm having financial stability, I'm actually having more than that, it's growing my financial situation, I'm having next to me a woman that I want to build a life with. There seemed all the things ticked. How am I growing further?
Right.
So you could...
That sense of plateauing was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Some like to call it a quarter life crisis. And it was definitely that. And this was the moment where I was lucky to have very good mentors around me that enabled me to realize that entrepreneurship is actually the way going forward. And I was like, I don't have $1 billion idea because that's whenever you're looking at everything around the startup community. Everything is working on the next unicorn type of thing. All classical jobs businesses are just out of the scene.
Yeah.
So
one killer idea to change the world, and not everyone has that.
Exactly. Yeah. But then I realized that I am doing something constantly that I never ask money for. And I do it with so much joy and so much passion and purpose. And that's helping my loved ones to better themselves whenever it comes to money. So that was the moment where it was a little bit of click. Okay, I have this skill that I do no matter what. If I would turn this into a business, and would this feel fulfilling to me?
Yeah.
And it fills me up like nothing else.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a longer story.
No, but I love to hear,
how everything builds up to this moment of me actually wanting to embark on this journey.
Exactly. And also to get to know, for whoever is listening and watching this podcast, that you didn't just wake up one day and you knew all the right answers and I'm born today as a finance professional, this is what I'm going to do. There is a journey and evolution and so much inner work that goes on into coming to this moment before you even realize what your dharma is, what your life path is, what your role in life is.
Absolutely.
And it's so good to know this backstory so that we know that you're doing this for the right reasons, the right motivation, and you're truly driven in what you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So lovely to hear of this process. Really, I find that very useful. Now, you said you've been helping your near and dear ones in their financial predicaments. You are also engaging with a lot of internationals in your everyday life. What challenges do internationals typically face when, now we are based in Denmark, so we take the example and the context of Denmark. What challenges do you see people typically dealing with, navigating, and what are the top of mind issues that you are handling in your work these days?
Yeah.
From an international perspective.
The part that I really love contributing with is this moment of crossroads.
Yeah.
And this is where I love selecting my clients based on this. Not only, but this is where I know I can contribute most.
Yeah.
And maybe I also do it because I walked that path and I've interacted with it. And it feels fulfilling to me to be able to enable somebody else who is there. I'm not in that crossroad anymore. I'm at a different one as life goes by. But I received help whenever I was there. And I want to be of help to the people who are going there.
Unpack this crossroad for our audiences. What kind of crossroads are internationals faced with?
As simple as losing yourself in pursuing your dream job or dream career. That is something that is hard to digest and hard to accept. And one could argue maybe you shouldn't accept and then continue fight and be ambitious about it and try to find the back door to it. That's something that I work with. And finances, they come into play here because finance is a support function. So is money is a support function.
Yes.
It's an enabler.
Yes.
It doesn't make your life beautiful. Of course, it's important to have enough so that you are meeting your basic needs. But after a certain point, money will not do much for you.
It's a means to an end.
Yes. This is the approach of, for you to snap out of your current situation.
So all those people who are not entirely happy with their day jobs, can we put it like that?
Yeah.
Or who want, So that's the crossroad where you have done something for a fairly long time. It's not entirely vibing with you anymore. You want to break into a new path.
Yeah.
Could be as an entrepreneur. That is the crossroad we are talking about.
That's one of them.
Okay. What are the other crossroads?
The other crossroads can be, and it doesn't belong to us as internationals.
Okay.
And neither the other one.
It could happen to anyone.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But also has to do with our financial brought up and the baggage that we're carrying with us. So just to give you an example from my experience, what I can see if I would take the two financial behaviors as two extremes, I could see people that hoard cash. So basically they earn an income, they are amazing savers. They have a hard time spending money. Money comes with guilt and feelings that prevents you from spending money.
Yeah.
But the thing is that this money, it doesn't make them rich.
Yeah.
It just makes them feel safe.
Yeah.
And that makes them feel stuck also from an investing perspective.
So these are savers who are not necessarily investors.
Yes, no, just savers. Just savers.
Stash it in your mattress.
Under the mattress.
Exactly.
And that many cultures are like that. I know Romanians are.
Right.
Unless they go in the other extreme, which are, let's call them professional spenders.
Yeah.
Where money comes in and money goes out.
Yeah.
They have a very weak ability to save money.
Yeah.
Once money is saved, it gets repurposed right away. Whereas the cash hoarder very religiously saves up the money and no, we're not touching this. We're toning everything down if needed so that we go through the month.
So this is another kind of crossroad where you're meeting people and their money habits, beliefs, and personas.
Absolutely.
Where they are stuck with different personality types.
Absolutely. All of us, the way I see it is that we tend to be more towards another. For example, I'm more towards cash hoarding, and that has to do with my kind of financial traumas that I'm inheriting from my family. And all of
and we are a product of our experiences.
Absolutely,
so naturally we have some bent one way or the other. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how to unlearn that and make an effective change is what you are supporting.
More of a kind of accepting that and seeing your weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's like fear. You can't just say, I'm not fearful anymore. That fear is still there, but you choose to move forward. So it's a process of accepting that level of uncertainty or that risk factor and then just enabling yourself to move forward. Yeah.
These are the two key crossroads or challenges that you are helping people navigate. If you were to give advice to someone, and we are talking advice early on in this podcast, what should one do? Let's take these two scenarios, right? If somebody is really tied down, security is important. Also, as an international, finding work is difficult. Add to that, in a context of Denmark, language plays a very big role. Not everybody is fluent professionally in Danish, so that limits the number of jobs you have. So after overcoming so many roadblocks, if you have landed a job, you want that security. You want to make sure that you can feed yourself and your family well. Nobody wants to usurp that only for their ambition and what they really pine for. I relate to this predicament. What advice would you give to someone listening to this podcast, apart from coming and having a chat with you and working long term? How should we shake ourselves out of this feeling stuck in our safe, stable jobs?
Yeah. There's no straight answer to this.
Yeah.
But if I am to break it down into a couple of steps, many people that at this knock at my door, they find themselves in that situation or in the situation of not knowing their next step, not having the long vision turned on.
Yeah.
So this is a great starting point to attend maybe a goal-setting coaching session with somebody that you might have in your network and work with doing this imagination exercise on what is it actually that you would like to grow into?
Yes.
Who would you like to become in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's
a lot of internal work to be done.
Absolutely.
In cracking just that, what is next for me and all of that. Yes.
But of course, that in isolation doesn't do much. You also need a part of doing it. Having it on a piece of paper and doing a very nice vision board, that will not help you much.
Yeah.
So then once you have this done, that contributes to the foundation of you being able to snap out of this unstuck situation. The other part is your finances. So are your finances empowered? Are they empowering you to do this next step? And that very much has to do with how much money do you need per month to live? Many people do not know this. So I highly encourage to tap into, your rent, maybe your electricity bill, but tap a little bit deeper into that. What are your core costs that make you keep the light open at night type of thing and make you function like a normal adult? This is one thing. Then looking into how many months should I have saved up of those core costs that in case shit hits the fan, I'm able to survive or continue live normally as I do now for the X amount of months.
Should it be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? What's the golden rule of thumb here?
So there are definitely rule of thumbs. So this needs to be adjusted to the personal situation.
Right.
To a person that is working corporate, for example, full-time and is our age, I would not recommend to have higher than 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
But if, for example, you are planning to start your business and you're catering your finances to support you for volatile income and starting a business and the income coming in right away, that's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
Then you might want to have longer.
So for someone who's not wanting to start a business, what is the game plan there? That they're looking for another job?
Job, change of careers.
Right.
And I was having a financial career, yet not in the specific financial domain that I wanted.
Yes.
So it was a tiny pivot, yet it was a significant one in terms of, financial consultants have a specific mindset versus other
roles
financial
in the
roles.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. And for someone who now tackling the other challenge, that's one piece of advice. Any other piece of advice before we tackle the other challenge?
Those would be goal setting, understanding your cost, your financial footprint, and building up something that I like to call the fuck you account.
Right,
because that basically enables you to say, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
FU account, it's become rather popular.
Yes.
Not too long ago, it was called the Blase buffer, but yes, go get yourself an FU account.
Yeah, I know it's vulgar, and I actually prefer to keep it that way because it wakes up emotions.
Yeah.
And this is where finance becomes such an emotionless thing, and it shouldn't, because I mean, we are emotional people.
Yeah, and all our financial decisions are taken out of how we are emotionally wired.
Totally.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All decisions, buying a burger or buying a milkshake or buying a healthy meal are very emotional choices at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's link the safety account also to give it an emotional anchor.
Yes.
That you will tap into that money only if it comes to your health or your security. Losing your job taps into security.
Yes.
So that contributes to the foundation. The next layer to that has to do with, and now I'm gonna call out to the cash hoarders. They have more than 6 months or many have more than 6 months of the FU account. Yet they still feel that they don't have enough. And this is where
they still feel they don't have enough. So they are really insecure if they are sitting on that much cash and still trembling. Okay.
Yes. So the journey for them, the internal work there is how can they find anchoring in this unpredictability? How can they manage to, gain the assurance that actually applying for a different job or quitting their job and taking a 3 months break will not break them down? And this is also, maybe it's a lot of internal work with a therapist or with a coach about how can you gain that trust in yourself, activate that.
Sure. When you meet internationals in Denmark, and it's really a tough one to change gears in your profession, even a slightest pivot takes a lot of courage, thinking, overthinking, inner work, working with coaches. Any change and to consciously put yourself through that is not easy. Where do you think, have you seen positive change in people after this process? Have you seen people go through from hoarders to changing their behavior, and people who never budgeted to budgeting? Have you seen active change in your line of work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All the time.
That's promising.
All the freaking time.
Okay.
And that's because starting digging this hole, you start finding limiting beliefs, you start interacting with your fears, start interacting with your injustices that you feel as a person. That comes with a lot of anger. That is power. And also the anger of you having, for example, if you're a cash hoarder, the fear there that you're losing money every day because inflation just eats your money.
But people are not thinking that because they can see a cash, typically in hand or digital cash. But how many people are thinking about the eroding effect of inflation? Are the hoarders thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course. If they're not, they don't know they have a problem.
Yeah.
But once this awareness comes to surface, then they will start feeling this fear of losing good opportunities, having inflation eating their money. There's a lot of talk ever since 2020 about inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very much up to surface, and many people relate to that. So it comes with pain to them, and pain is an amazing source of change.
Indeed. Said. Right. Now that we have tackled immediate tips, advice from a financial professional, somebody who's really coaching people to manage their finances, I want to hear also how Denmark has panned out for you personally. You are married to a Dane and you live in an international household.
Yes.
We have that in common. How has, in your view, how is life in Denmark unique and different from being in Romania? In tangible examples, you could share examples and insights both personally and professionally, because when we talk about fear, anger, uncertainty, you grew up in a lot of post-communist era, and then coming to Denmark, and then you see way of life here and practices. What changes are noticeable for you? What differences are noticeable for you?
One that comes to my mind right away is the joy of living in the moment.
Yeah.
This is something that my wife has and I don't.
Wow, that's a big one.
It is
joy of living in the moment. Yeah.
It is being present and being in tune with you right now.
Yeah.
I live a lot in the future, and that comes with the Romanian baggage, and also maybe coming from an ambitious family that wants to do more for herself.
Yeah.
So this is a learning journey for me, and has been, especially once I met my wife. And I appreciate her so much for being this for me, because she drags me to present.
Yeah.
Which is both a reason for joy and a reason for conflict in many situations, because it plays both angles, right?
Yeah.
But this is one of them. Another one, maybe linking it to ambition. I think that people are a lot more content, which kind of they're connected.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
Being content and not wanting more, that is not familiar to me.
Yeah.
I'm not wired that way.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought this to the conversation. Yeah. I feel so strongly about this topic. Yeah.
Yet I see, and to be honest, content is one source of happiness.
Yeah.
However, the journey of being ambitious, the incremental change that you're doing, that is my source of happiness. And I find agony in being still. Of course, there's a lot of good therapy material there for me to work on, but this is a second one.
So it helped me understand when you say content, being content, if I'm understanding you the way I think about this topic as well, I feel that in Denmark, because there is so much security in terms of this educational security, education is taken care of, health is taken care of, it is a safe country, a safe society. Nobody is going to rob you at the next station. People are feeling so comfortable, and from cradle to death, the state will take care of you. That I think there is that burning element, that fire in your belly to go and do something for yourself. The struggle doesn't exist. So that ambition is also tapered in my view. Is that what you are referring to when you say the contentment? Because coming from India, life is not that simple, and there is a huge element of struggle. Nothing is a given. You get into an operation, there is no guarantee that it will go well. You want to go get some paperwork done, there's corruption at every step, unfortunately. There is struggle. There is an inherent sense of struggle, and nothing is a given. Whereas in Denmark, many things are secure. So I also feel that people lack ambition, and that hurts me. Are you referring with your contentment? Are you referring to that?
I am referring to that. But just to add another layer there, I also met amazing, ambitious Danes.
Yeah.
But the source of ambition is a little bit different than mine.
Yeah, tell me more.
Mine is very much fear-driven.
Right.
I'm so afraid of failing. I'm so afraid of not becoming the person that I want to be.
Yes.
Whereas another source of ambition can be curiosity, can be the pleasure, not the pain.
Right.
So I'm curious to tap into this research and see how things can be better done.
Yeah.
So there are two different sources.
Absolutely. Very well said. Very well said. Yeah.
I am having crazy ambitious Danes around me, but we have a little bit different incentive structure.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying mine is the pleasure one is better than the pain one. They're all can be very effective.
Yeah.
But of course, maybe one could argue that one feels a little bit better in your stomach than the other one.
Yeah. Very interesting that you bring this up.
I have another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another big cultural difference that I see is communication style.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a Latin country that sits in the Balkans. Yeah. We are so reputational, which is it's 2 in 1 here. Differences. We are so reputational, and I feel this is completely the opposite with the Danish culture. Maybe also with the Jente law.
Yeah, break it down for us.
Romanian society has a fairly strong hierarchy. We care a lot about how you perceive me, and I'll show this to you through the way I dress, the way I walk, the way I talk, the car that I drive, through everything.
So it's very hierarchical and status-oriented.
Status-oriented,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe less hierarchical than India.
Yeah.
But
still
status-oriented.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas in Denmark, I don't see this, which is both. It's a joy to not feel judged based on your appearances, but at the same time, it feels a little bit unnatural to me. So this was a learning journey for me coming here.
Naturally, yes.
Yeah.
Well said.
And also in communication style, because we are so reputational, we care a lot on how you perceive me.
Yeah.
If you're having a bad day, I will play the violin a lot until I feel that you're on a frequency that I could deliver the message to you.
So you will please. You will do
full on.
Okay.
Full on pleasing. And I actually didn't think about that, but it's full on pleasing. Whereas the beauty about Danish language is such a direct language, and so it is the way you do it.
Yeah, and there is no word please in the Danish language.
You
cannot say, pass me that glass of water, please.
Exactly.
You can say venligst, but nobody says that.
Or beom.
Yeah, beom. Yeah.
But exactly, so the clashes and the beauty, they're both sides of the coin counts here, is that I had to learn how to be more direct in my communication.
It's more direct and informal as well. Yeah, that's true.
At the same time, this is where the friction comes in the couple.
Yeah.
At the same time, this is also the things that attract us.
Yes.
Because she probably loves the fact that I'm a lot more open with my emotions and the way I express myself.
So you are more direct, or the Danes, your partner is more
My partner
is more
She's
direct.
also half German, which doesn't help.
So how would you express a need, a demand in a personal relationship? So you wouldn't be the direct approach. You would say it cushion it in a way.
Yeah, we walked down the street. There's a McDonald's there. It was like nothing. And then I asked again,
it's implied.
Exactly. And they're like, what do you like on the McDonald's menu? And then she's responding to me, and then I'm like, do you feel like having something from McDonald's? And she's like, no, actually I don't. And then don't put my needs there. I'm actually hungry. I'm starving. Can you please indulge ourselves in this?
Yeah, absolutely. You could have just started off by saying, hey, I feel like having McDonald's, want to join me?
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't come.
That did not come. And this is, of course, this is a silly example, but
a real
the framework, the steps gets translated into all domains of life.
Yeah, very well brought out. I totally relate to this. And I think so talk about stature and status, right? Coming from India, for us, anybody's senior could be age, could be status like a professor. It's just it's so innate and deep in me that I cannot treat you like you were my buddy. It just cannot happen. You're not my equal. Especially even at work, if you're my manager and you're only 5-7 years older, for me you are big. So for me to treat you in that level playing of a field took a long time. I could not bring my professor to call my professor by his first name. I just could not say, hi, Kim, because for me...
Hi, Mr. Professor.
No, Professor Kim is just Professor Kim. Yeah. He's so big for me, and I have so much respect. So those are the challenges that we overcome.
Absolutely.
And talking about being forthright, I think I have now become so, to some extent, Danified, that now when my mother visits and she says, hey, do you want to eat that ice cream? I say, no, I don't want to eat that ice cream. I love conversation. But what she really wants to say, let's both of us go and have that ice cream. So I didn't get the drift.
Yes, and this happens to me as well. I am too Danish to be Romanian, and I'm too Romanian to be Danish.
Exactly.
I'm basically stuck in this.
And that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We are this, that, and a blend of both. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that's the beauty of being a migrant, because we can navigate many cultures, more than one culture.
Absolutely.
And make sense of us. You know, we also say the way we understand ourselves is in relation to someone else, which is why the partner is important. But then you see, we also understand our own culture in relation to another culture. It all makes sense. Otherwise, our own habits will not be a big deal at any point, or will not occur to us as something special.
Absolutely. And I think I discovered Romania in a different way once I started dating her.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that she comes, and probably wouldn't have dated if we wouldn't have clicked like this. But she's so curious and so hungry to know more about Romanian culture. And I was like, I don't know how to answer you this.
Yeah, because you didn't think about this.
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then it made me go down on what makes Romanian be Romanian.
Yeah.
An answer that I did not have, because we are lacking a national identity, a strong national identity. But that's a different kind of topic.
Yeah.
But it made me reflect on it through her questions, through the context that she brought.
Incredible. In a nutshell, what do you think makes a migrant unique from someone who's never left their home country? Just want to hear what Rares thinks.
I think it's not a straight answer, but I'll try to make it as straight as I can.
Imagine Rares never left, and Rares is an expat now. So two very different individuals.
Yeah, God, I think I would have hated it, honestly. But starting life from scratch again and again is a confidence killer. It ruins you.
It humbles you.
I chose ruin, you chose humble. This is how I felt, that it just, where am I, who am I? It brings so many existential questions to you. You lose yourself, you lose your previous identity for a while. Of course, hopefully you'll not lose yourself, you will able to build it up. And this is what, basically that's the consequence. Because you get into this crisis of feeling that I'm hitting wall after wall, yet you somehow find to overcome it. So this is the part that I would say makes the complete difference and makes us as expats come with an edge. The fact that we started life from scratch at least once, and the learnings that we get through there. And of course, those learnings come also probably with trauma to certain levels, but it also makes you stronger, makes you more understanding of the world, understanding of your capabilities. And that can contribute a lot on the personal side, on the professional side, and to your own joy of living life.
Yeah. Starting from zero, being hit to the very bottom, so that you feel you have to rise like the Sphinx over and over again, find that resilience. So journey of humility and constant learning.
Yes.
Constant learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you have recently started a new network, and that is called the Copenhagen Expat Network.
Yes.
Tell us more about it. Sounds pretty straightforward, and a network in Copenhagen for expats. How did this come about? What's cooking? Who is this for? And who's behind this? And how did you come up with the idea?
So I came with the idea from a pain point.
Right.
Where I find myself as an adult living in Copenhagen, still having many of my relationships being from back home, even though I left 11 years ago.
Yeah. So a lot of your connections are Romanian.
Yes, I'm very lucky to have some Romanians from back home living here. Yet those are two people.
Yeah.
They contribute a lot to my happiness and to my feeling of community and belonging.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And as an adult that is working, making new friendships is not the same way it was whenever we were students.
Of course.
Just the way we build trust is completely different than the way we did it back then.
Yeah.
So I felt that I personally lacked a context where I could meet other people that are the same frequency as I am. And when I say frequency, I had to choose one just to make sure that it is targeted in a way. So I want to surround myself that are professional, so they are career oriented, they are ambitious. They might feel stuck or they might feel empowered, that's okay, but they are career oriented. They want to accelerate their growth. Then they want to build wealth. And of course it's tied to their ability to earn money. So they want to cash in on the fact that they are internationals here. Many choose to stay here also because of the income that they're earning. And then how can they capture that? Because what I can see through my international community and through the clients that I have, they're either spending everything they have and they do live paycheck to paycheck if you're looking grand scheme, or they are cash hoarding and they still feel stuck and not enjoying their money in none of the ways. I want to be able to contribute to that. I can contribute on this angle specifically, but of course building wealth is not just money management and investments. There's taxation, there's the Danish mortgage system. There's so many angles that I do not have answers to yet. I want to find them and then create this context for them to learn.
So is the expat network in Copenhagen has the main focus as how to deal with financial life, or does it have other focus areas as well?
It has other focus areas as well. This is just the angle that I personally can contribute and feel like I can host a session. I can create this context. But so far we had on negotiations, salary negotiations. So we had the privilege of having an Oxford professor as one of the speakers, Tim Cullen. Then talking about negotiations in general and understanding how do you negotiate cross-culturally. Then understanding negotiations with your manager, in salary negotiations and position negotiations. Then we had how to actually network. Many of the events that are happening in Denmark or in Copenhagen, you go, show up, once the thing is done, everybody is gone. And then there's left this context of, I would actually like to meet new people. Yeah. And this is what we're always focusing.
So this is a space where you can have recurring meetings and meet the same people again.
Yes.
And not lose contact.
I see familiar faces coming in and it's very rewarding to see this.
So how old is the network right now?
So it started from a very angry LinkedIn post in September last year.
Okay.
So it's still an infant. And from there I was like, once I get 100 people signed up to kind of a mail list, then I'll start doing something.
And you got that?
We have more than 550 people signed up.
Fantastic. Okay. So how does one become a member of this network group? Is it by...
When I say we, I'm not alone in this. I have a lot of amazing people that want to contribute to this.
Right.
And we are having a core team that we are planning the next events and we're finding speakers and making a program happening and so on. Yeah. And one of the members, she said, okay, I will take care of the landing page. So making a place where we have Copenhagen Expat Network.dk where you can find it. That website is not up to date. Maybe by the time this podcast is launched, they will be. Yeah. But we want to have that. So far, it's a lot through LinkedIn and a lot through me. So there is a Copenhagen Expat Network LinkedIn page.
Right.
Also Instagram page. Yes. And there can be contact with us through there.
Great, good to know. And I will be happy to share these links with this podcast. So whoever is watching and listening, and if this is of interest to you, to mingle and connect both from a financial, professional, wealth growing and a social perspective with other expats in Copenhagen, this could be a space for you. So definitely check out that link. And finally, to wrap up, Rares, this has been such a heartwarming conversation, getting to know you, your origins, your journey. If there is a younger Rares out there from any part of the world, what parting advice would you give, financial or life advice, to a younger person out there who's about to migrate or they are at the onset of their careers? Any last few parting words?
This is not an easy one. On finance, I will just say, keep living below your means. This is such a crucial one. Without savings, you are not having the basis for you to do the changes that you need to do that can affect your career, personal life, and so on. So this is rule of thumb, very easy, hard to implement those sometimes, but very easy rule, a very simple rule. The second one has to do with dare to dream, dare to pursue, and get used to rejection, because by pursuing your dream, you're gonna get so much rejection going on, and it is the natural way of life. So accepting that rejection is part of life, and try your absolute best not to take it personally, but contextually. You just need to change the context. That, to me, this was my learning so far. You close the front door, I'll find the back door. I'll figure it out. And also with applying to 2 master's degrees, applying to different areas of finance, and ending up exactly where I wanted. Not in a straight line, it was a zigzag, but I got where I wanted.
Beautifully put. You close the front door and I will find the back door. Love to hear that. If you are out there and you are about to migrate, or you're at the onset of your career, remember to live within your means and never stop dreaming, because it's only through trials and tribulations and constant trying and overcoming all those rejections, which are a given on any journey, we will reach our goal. I find this conversation truly rewarding. If you feel the same, and if you've had a good time watching and listening and really derived value and meaning from this conversation, please remember to share and like this episode. And more importantly, do take a moment to subscribe to this channel so that you can listen to more interesting migrants and expats who are happy to share their life stories for your benefit as well. I had a great time speaking to you, Rares.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this lovely memento from Romania. Teach me the name again, please.
Mărțișor.
Mărțișor. Thank you. A
You're
sign
very
of
welcome.
hope and a sign of continuing growth. Thank you very much today. Till I see you again next time with another lovely guest, please do take care of yourself. Bye-bye.